Hi, I'm Ben. My Chinese name is Yi Xiaolong, and not to be confused with Bruce Lee's name, which is very similar but quite different. Um, and For my show and tell intro, I want to show you some photos that tell the story of how my family and I ended up acquiring our road trip van Kevin, then drove to the Arctic Ocean for a swim. So it all started with a trip to Yellowstone in 2013. My dad had terminal cancer, and for his last hurrah, he wanted to do a family trip to visit two of his favorite national parks, Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. So we packed up our Subaru and piled in for a road trip. This picture is from the artist's viewpoint at the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. This is my mom's favorite picture from the trip, and that's her and my dad. We loved it. We got to spend a ton of time with my dad, and while we knew he wasn't comfortable, he was clearly happier than he'd been for over a year. The following summer, we decided to return to the parks in honor of my dad, and it felt like a good way of connecting with him and healing. The kids were a little bigger, and we stayed a little longer to get to know the parks more. Here, my older son, Sahali, caught his first fish. It was an incredible trip. And of course, then the next year, we hit the road again. But after Yellowstone, this time we decided to extend our driving and include a little trip down to Colorado. In 2016, we returned to Yellowstone again and spent some time in Grand Teton and Glacier National Park. And then again in 2017, we decided, let's go back. And here is Leo catching his first brook trout. Each year the trip got longer and we got more packed into the Subaru, and we started to think about van life. But the price tag on those vans was way out of our budget. Enter Kevin, the big green van. In 2018, we took Kevin, the 1995 Econoline van, and it had a lot more room. And of course, that summer was just as fantastic. At some point along the road, we hatched an idea to rebuild the inside of Kevin and head north to Alaska. So that winter, we gutted the inside of the van in our driveway and started the 6-month process of rebuilding. Here, Rachel preps the floor for sound deadening insulation. And you can see here Leo is flattening the roof insulation. We literally finished the welding of the bed frame the day before leaving, but we made it. And so here's the van fully loaded outside of our house. The only thing I think is not on here is the water tanks. We started heading north and we made our way to the Alaska Highway. And from there, we went up through the Yukon and the Northwest Territories of Canada. My partner Rachel is a competitive inline skater, and she got to skate along the highway near Tok, Alaska. Got to hike along the foot of the Root Glacier in Wrangell-St. Elias National Park. And then on a whim, we decided to take the Dempster Highway. It's a highway in northern Canada. And here's one of our campsites beside the highway, a 600-mile dirt and gravel road. It was long and dusty, but it was incredible. And then, of course, at the end of the road was the Arctic Ocean. And what do you do when you're in the Arctic Ocean? Pretty much only one thing you can do is jump in the water. And that is the short story of how we ended up in the Arctic Ocean. Thanks.